Hey guys, welcome back. We're back at it. All right, got my mojo back a bit. Still rocking the sore finger. We're going to get into the build on the Sopwith Camel. So we're back into it, really enthusiastic. Enjoy your 2024. Hopefully this thing will move under its own propulsion towards the end of 2024, so it's going to be a good year. Hope you enjoy the video. Right, so it looks like I've done a lot. All I've done is simply cleco the ribs on. That's sort of the hard work that I've done. Now the cream on the cake, whack the ribs on. I need to do the spacing, get them all upright. I've got a plumb bob ready to go here. With no plans, it's a bit hard. So I just have to make the ailerons the same length, which will determine the position of this rib and this rib. I want the push rod to be parallel to my wing strut. Whether that's crooked or not doesn't matter, but I want my push rod, top and bottom aileron, to be parallel with that. That's where we're at with that at the moment. So I've just come back from a good break, as you know. I robbed a bank and bought some coffee for the hangar. Done a bit of washing. Got some spares ordered in, 10-32 bolts or AN3s there for all the wing skins. I actually ordered the wrong ones. I've got 832. On that, well, I've just changed the microphone over, so 2024 resolution is try and do a bit better on the camera. I can change the microphone from the front when I'm in front of it or behind it, so the audio should be a little bit better. It's got to spend a little bit more time with the camera to help you guys out. But ordered in the wrong bolts is what I was getting at. 832, but I think I'll just stick with 1032 everywhere, AN3, which is 3/8 nuts, so 3/8 socket. If I hop in the cockpit, 3/8 socket, undo the whole aeroplane. If I start chopping and changing and having different nuts and bolts everywhere, it just gets more complicated, so let's keep it simple, stupid. I've also got the Australian Open running on the TV. Ordered in some more nuts and bolts. I use, in Australia, these guys are really good, AAE, Australian Aerospace Engineering. It's written on there. Really quick and easy. I also got myself a nice stool to rock around there. Just between you and me, if you've been on antibiotics for a couple of weeks, you're dying for a good stool, trust me. So, got a couple of cupboards to whack together for my wife's office. I'll get those done as well. It's easy to bring it out here and get a bit of housework done, and then we'll get stuck into building. A lot of hardware on this thing. It's got more hardware than aisle 12 at Bunnings, but we'll get into it. Right, here we go. Got my trolley ready to go. Got my little jig. This just helps me square the ribs. So I put that against the spar. You know, hold that tight, squares the rib, and the verticals obviously get the rib relatively vertical. Not forgetting another jig piece. So my jig, this goes in, locks in like that, which will set the height. These will be higgledy-piggledy at the moment, but I'll get that set. A couple of clecos. Just remembering our critical ribs, I guess, this one. I'll connect the push rod up. As you can see, I don't know if the aircraft is level at the moment, but I've got the string. I'm not sure if it shows up on the camera. Got the string and the strut slightly out. So I'm just going to make it parallel to the strut. And then, like I was saying before, there's no plans as to how long the aileron has to be. I've got my cardboard cut out somewhere still. But I'll measure, this distance here and work it all out. Make them all the same, or very similar. Let's go plus or minus half an inch. Right, so ribs going on. See, I just don't spare the clamps. I mark the leading edge, get my distance. This rib just happens to be equal distance between those two. Not very important, but because this rib sort of falls here, needs to go there. Long story short, this is also the rib with the push rod. Cut that in half, bang, that's where that rib goes. I've got my jig block, which holds the rib vertical for me. Holds it square at the back here with the spar. Another bit of 2B1 screwed to this L angle. So I know it's vertical, I know it's square. Sometimes your eyes plays trick on you, and you, especially with an angle out here, you're not sure if it's square. But I know we're square. Clamp it, then drill it. When I drill it, you can see like in here, I've previously marked a centre line on my jig, which is really handy, and 10mm from each side. So I don't have to think. I've already got a crosshairs there, like on the next rib, ready to go. So the crosshairs, boom, boom. Just a trick I learnt from, save a bit of time from doing the top wing. On the third rib now, and I just got that sensation that all my ribs were leaning over. Leaning over this way actually. In fact, they are because of the dihedral, and I'm square to the spar. So the ribs are actually going on square to the spar. So I've got 5 degrees of dihedral, so arguably I've got 5 degree lean in all the ribs. And I sort of thought, oh, hang on. Thinking that everything should be square, but they're slightly leaned over. That's the way I'm doing it. I don't know if, I assume that's right. You just, like a model aeroplane, just build the ribs square to the spar. Slowly working my way across. I've just left out that rib, as we explained. Got 3 to go. It's very easy to drop your standards on this, so you've got to just check yourself up and keep your standards up. What I mean by that, I just, flying wires in the way, so it's worth the time. Get a 90-degree drill, get everything nice and square, and drill your hole rather than rush through. This is a hobby, so I always say to myself, there's 10 ribs, I believe. Do I want, 1.5 crooked ribs, or do I want 10 perfect ribs? So we'll just work our way slow. If I knock off today with only 7 perfect ones, as opposed to 10, so be it. Right, that'll do for that session, I reckon. I run my string line. It's just attached to the first and last rib. If you have a look, just dissects all of them really nice. Beautiful job. String doesn't lie, I guess. For what it is, string's on. Now I need to work out what's going to happen here. The trailing edge will sort of end in no man's land, because the rib will be out here. Then we need some sort of shroud, which I'll get to. We'll work our way up. Obviously I need to get to the wing mounting bolt. Fairly important, that guy. And we'll persevere from there. Just keep chugging along with the wing. But it gives it a bit of girth. Now she's sitting there pretty. Old Chubbs. Right, back at it, next day. Got a couple more ribs to go. Still bandaged up. Where are we at? Got to find out myself. 2 more ribs to go, and then we'll finish off all these ribs. I'll make up a push rod, get that rib in place on both sides. Look at our root rib, and then we'll run the trailing edge. Just been down to see the surgeon about the finger. We've got an infected finger. Don't know how that happened. Had surgery, cut it open. Wouldn't wish that on anyone. They're pretty painful just for a finger. And when you're in hospital, you tend to find that they'll do the gunshot wound, the shark attack, and the pregnant lady, and the guy with a finger sort of just waits in the corner. But I went and saw him yesterday. Went down to Melbourne to get some plywood, which I'll show you in a minute. but it looks like might be a redo on the finger, so I may have to go back for more surgery on my finger. So getting knocked around a bit, but we'll keep building on. Right, so while I was in Melbourne, I went to a place called Plyco, Plywood Suppliers. Got some beautiful wood down there if you get excited about wood. So I got some, this is what they call 0.8 of a mil, so thinner than 1/16. Beautiful bit of plywood, nice and flexy. So my plan for that is that can be like a veneer when this is all painted. I could put a piece of this, you know, go on there beautifully, cut it. So if that's all aluminium to start with and paint and covered, we've been through that. My final finish, if you like, I'll whack this on because to simulate wood, I'll just use wood. And then that can be, you know, brass screws or something, which will go through the covering if the paper was the covering, and then if I have plywood or aluminium underneath. So I found a supplier now. He actually gave me this piece to play with, which was nice of him, and they can cut sheets up to 2400 or something, special made to order, of the thin stuff, 0.8 of a mil. He did have 0.4 of a mil down there, which is like a sheet of A4 paper. I also got two bits, he helped me out. These have actually got they're sort of offcuts somewhere. They've got, yeah, not sure if the camera will pick that up, but there's a floor in both pieces. I only need, well, it's a 1200 square, so I probably only need 1200 by 900 for the turtle deck. This is 2 mil ply, and yeah, it's just nice, good plywood. Still need to flex it around a bit. It's just a step up from the bunning stuff. So I got those sheets for $20 each, 1200 by 2400, and as I said, he gave me a sample piece. When I mentioned what I was doing and showed him some photos, he was an old aeroplane guy, and had Sopwith Camels hanging up as a kid. So he sort of fell in love with the idea and gave me a sheet here to play with, or just to get to work out what I need as far as the build goes. So there we go. I've got plenty of plywood to play with. So at some stage, I'll keep going with the wing, but it'd be nice to get this turtle deck on, glued on. So I might break up the job, the monotony of rivets and aluminium, do some woodwork. Got my template already made. Obviously I'll sand these parts down to nothing basically to save, you know, the covering will come down and then onto the longeron. I could put a sneaky bit of filler, you know, where that meets the longeron. And anyway, muck around, clean it all up nice. Let's move on. All right, interconnect, strut or rib position. Just clamp on the tube. The tube's up the top. I've just positioned my the actual interconnect piece there on the rib, and you can see I'm slightly out. So we'll just tap that rib in till it looks visually right, and we'll lock the rib in position. All right, a little bit of mucking around, but I've got that as good as parallel. So all three are the same. Worst case, I can shim one of the, see it has the eye end. I could potentially put a washer, you know, top or bottom as required, just to fine tune that when you walk up behind the aircraft, if need be. That's pretty good, we'll lock that in. All right, pull all the clecos out, getting a bit cleverer this time. Just pull all the clecos out of the back, allows me to get into all the holes, deburr, rub off the texture, cleco it back. We'll do the same at the front. They don't lose their position, and yeah, then I can go through and rivet all those on, pushing ahead. I am slowing down a bit, like you sort of realise it's never going to be finished in a hurry, so just plod along and do it right. Just cleco everyone, so I know it's going to be right. Remove the cleco, rivet. Alright guys, I can only film what I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing. Just got all the ribs clecoed on. I'll have some lunch, we'll fire up the compressor, or I will fire up the compressor, and everywhere you can see a cleco, I'll whack an A5 rivet in there, 3mm, 1/8, 3.3. I've got some concerns, I guess, just looking. Got to be a bit careful. This bolt here and the rib probably should have been up one hole. Once again, lack of guidance on the plans. It's going to be buried, but I guess worst case, to get this, I don't want to move it up because then my cable will be too short, an expensive cable. I could move it up to this hole, but it's just a matter of undoing the main bolt and lift the strut up a bit to get the bolt in or out. Ideally, I think I want the head on the outside, but that's not going to happen in this situation. And I probably want the tang under the nut. So if I ever need to take the tang off, I don't have to pull the bolt right out, just take the nut off and get the tang off. So I might move this to the outside, top and bottom. Shouldn't be an issue up the top there, I don't think. Maybe do the same with these, move them all to the outside. Just what I'm thinking at the moment. Boom. All right, all riveted on and all looking pretty schmick. All nice and level. Trailing edge, spot on. Got a little bit of variation, but that just depends on how far you push the trailing edge up. We'll get the trailing edge on next, I think. We'll make some root ribs actually. So I'm on my nice new little trolley, loving myself. So what I need to do is work out whether I need a left or right rib. So I've got two ribs over there on the shelf that haven't been made up yet, when I mean left or right. So this is a lefty and if the bracket was out this side, it'd be a right-hand rib, I call it. So just got to work out where that rib is going to sit. I don't think there's going to be a neat way of doing this. This is a consideration, and yeah, up to the front. I'll get it as close to this compression strut as I can, and then as we have discussed, I'll worry about making it pretty later. Trailing edge. Can't quite understand. The trailing edge is going to be... Things have fallen down. We'll go flying soon, baby. We'll go flying soon. So the trailing edge will sort of just come here somewhere. You don't want to step on that on the other side. I'm going to get it on the other side, but I've got to build that, well, protection in there. Very fragile old girl, a bit like myself, old boy. And yeah, I'll make up those ribs, get those fitted, then we'll put on the trailing edge. Trailing edge will run all the way out. Aileron, I'm pretty sure, well, I get an 8-foot section which just goes under the fuselage there, so it's long enough. So I'll start it here for my aileron join. Then another piece will run out. We'll do our tip, which I've already bent up. So this should all go together fairly quickly. Just got to remember the process of what I did up the top there, and get then it'll be a matter of hinges, put the hinges in, the false spar if you like, or the hinge leading edge, sorry, the aileron leading edge spar, we'll call it. Get that on, cut out the aileron, pulleys, run the cable, leading edge sheeting. Now the leading edge sheeting, that's a good one. So first piece will go on, lay down, second piece, and then somehow I have to get a leading edge in and around all this. So that'll be a hole, just a nice hole sort of there somewhere through the leading edge, I'm guessing. Just thinking out loud here, guys. And then a hole here. But I don't want to pull the aircraft apart and take it out of rig just yet. So just got to come up with a funky way of doing that. And also, yeah, if I have a neat hole here for the leading edge sheeting, I need to be able to install it. So there may be a panel here, might be a big square cut out of the leading edge. I'll have to research that and see what others have done. And as the compressor kicks in, yeah, I have to research that bit. So if I get a straight edge, so with a straight edge, that's my leading edge sheeting. Which will be on there, and that's not too bad. Cut a hole, I slid it at the back so I can tuck it around, and this one here, not too sure about that one. We're going to need a hole on the bottom to get that in. A lot of thinking, see what I end up with. Alright, all the ribs are on. Got the root rib in place. I went with it took me ages to work out how I was going to do this, and then the penny dropped. So I just put the bracket on the back side of the spar, just because I got used to doing all the front side. For some reason I figured I had to do the front side with all this, the cross bracing in the way. Put it on the back, worked a treat. Got a bit of a gap
My plan is to lean this over. It still moves a fair bit. Lean the rib over. I can join the root rib to the inboard rib or sheet it or whatever I have to do to make it stay there. When I do come to cover the wing, the covering will come over this root rib, and the compression strut is actually proud, so the covering will poke out around the compression strut, which is fine. There's no way that compression strut's going to move, and the stubbies will poke out. And then the plan is, that's how much gap I ended up with, probably about 4 inches. Somehow I'll put like a gutter guard, a flashing on there to clean that up. Still got to do the root rib on the other side, and do the tips. Also, we've got played with the leading edge. I'll do some research on this as to how I'm going to actually achieve that result, make it all work. Then it's almost time to pull the wings off. I made, at the front here, just made up a bracket, purely because I haven't fixed the front edge here yet. That's just to hold it together. I may make a bracket up for in here. My gammy finger's getting in the way. Might make a bracket up here, but the leading edge sheeting will hold that rib in there. Once this is, I can still twist it away to compromise how close I want it to the fuselage, because you don't want a panel that's only like a 1/4 inch wide. So a bit further away, give me a decent sized panel. I may even put a secondary rib sort of 2 inches away from this rib. We'll see how we go with that. Alright guys, there you go. Hope you liked that video. We'll keep building, and I'll see you on the next one.